From CBS 47 and Fox 30, it's time for This Week in the 904.
Welcome to This Week in the 904. I'm your host, Emily Turner. This is a community affairs show, and it focuses on politics, public policy, and all the issues and things that affect our local communities. And joining us today is Dr. Jeff Ettling. He is the CEO of the Jacksonville Zoo and Botanical Gardens. Thank you so much for your time.
Well, thanks for having me. I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, so I just grew up calling it the zoo, but that's actually not the name, and you guys have also done a rebrand for that.
That is correct. You know, and it's a very pivotal time for us with our rejuvenation campaign going on and how that's going to transform the zoo and botanical garden. It was a great time to put a new look on ourselves because it's been 20 years with our previous logo, and being the #1 tourist attraction, cultural facility in Northeast Florida, and then recently just voted #4 zoo in the country on USA Today. It was a good time to make this move, particularly with what's coming up with the new front entry opening next year.
Well, congratulations on the win, by the way.
Yeah, thank you.
I love the zoo, so do my 5 and 2-year-old. What went into the thinking behind not just the logo, but the slogan, or the slogan?
Tagline,
yeah.
Yeah, and I think we did a lot of focal interview groups internally with our consultants, and what do we really want the community as well as the outside world to know about the Jacksonville Zoo and Botanical Garden. We were gardens before, but we truly are a botanical garden, and I think we wanted to give credence to that, that we do have a dedicated team of both animal care specialists as well as horticulturists that are keeping the plant and animal life at our campus thriving every day. And then also that, we're a fun, friendly place to come spend time. We know that's why people come to visit, but we are probably the last vestige of nature for particularly a lot of kids. It's not like it was when I was growing up where I spent my whole summer up in the woods catching snakes, that today being able to get nose to nose with a tiger or touch a snake, we know that that's pivotal. So particularly to pro-environmental behaviors that they develop at a very early age. But we also want people to know that when you come here to have a good time with your friends and family, but you're also doing a good thing for the planet. I like to say that everybody is a conservationist when they come to visit the Jacksonville Zoo and Botanical Garden, because $1 from every admission, $4 from every membership goes into our conservation budget that helps care for the animals we take care of as well as their wild counterparts. So you really are doing a good thing when you come to visit and have a good time.
And the tagline is what?
For animals, for plants, forever. So I think it's very telling, that when you think about it that way, that we are really looking to the future of being able to connect people with nature and to have the same kind of experiences that all of us had growing up.
This is also going to be accompanied by, you said, a rejuvenation,
Yep.
which I love the pun.
Yeah.
What all does that entail?
Well, it's a multi-year process, but the big one right now is we're repositioning our front entry and then also a 330,000 gallon manatee habitat. And it's more than just an entryway. It's going to be iconic. When you come to visit the Jacksonville Zoo and Botanical Garden, you're not going to forget where you came to visit. We've got this huge canopy that's 50 foot tall, 25,000 square feet. We can put 1,000 people under it in the pouring rain. The temperature differential is about 20 degrees cooler under there than the outside air, so it feels like there's a fan on all the time. It's just convection. So we can have events under there, like I said, in the rain. We can seat like 800 plus at tables. We've got a full catering kitchen where there's a stage with a 64-foot LED screen, so we can, with surround sound, so for speaking engagements, we can do Friday night concert series. We've got a condition space above the gift shop that will seat 200, as well as a 40-person boardroom. So there's going to be a lot of opportunity for companies and other organizations in the community to have off-site meetings that we've never been able to have before.
Oh, wow. So then, because do you do special events now?
We do, but we're limited on indoor space and space that's out of the elements. And we do get a little rain down here, so this canopy really puts it in a new light. The other thing by moving it, I should mention, by moving the entrance 90 degrees from where it currently sits, is that, as you know now, if you come in through main camp, you get down to Land of the Tiger, you have to double back to main camp.
Yeah.
This is going to allow for a complete loop. So we took out the old education campus. This is where the new front entry. The first and last thing you will see will be this 330,000 gallon manatee which is phenomenal. It has life support that looks like something from a small city, which it basically is. You know.
What do you mean life support?
All the filtration
Oh, I see.
and ozone. I mean, there's 18 huge sand filters that operate this. We're going to have that all visible as part of the experience, because it used to be in the early days of my zoo career, those are the kind of things that we would hide because nobody wants to look at the mechanical part. But we've discovered over probably the last decade plus that people really want to see how things work. This is 330,000 gallons. If you think about it, it's half of what a major aquarium would be in terms of gallonage. We can hold up to probably 20 manatees.
In just the one? Wow.
And we can divide it into 3 sections. Plus there's these canals that basically connect to the 4 back of house pools that the manatees will have choice and control of where they want to be, which is what we do for all of our animals, where they want to be. They can move around, make the choices. And we'll have other things in there, native fish and turtles as well, so it'll look like a river here in Florida. Try to mimic that whole thing. All the rock work that's going in right now mimics stuff you might see in a part of a stream here in Florida. And we put in full-size plants. There's 20-foot plus plants that are going in right now, palms, bald cypress, that look like they've been there for years already.
Wow, that's amazing. So it's fully in the process right now.
Oh yeah, it will be completed by the end of the calendar year. I mean, that's how fast track it is. I'm over there every week with our in-house project manager who oversees everything for us, and it's amazing to me how much change happens in literally 1 week.
Wow.
So they're moving at a very fast pace right now.
Well, there's more to talk about when it comes to construction, when it comes to the future of the Jacksonville Zoo and Botanical Gardens. We'll have all of that when we come back from the break.
From CBS 47 and Fox 30, you're watching This Week in the 904.
Welcome back to This Week in the 904. I'm your host, Emily Turner. Dr. Jeff Ettling with the Jacksonville Zoo is here with us. And we were just talking about the construction and what's going on at the zoo. What is the timeline? You said manatees are about to come online soon.
Yeah, so the manatee portion of this project will be done several months before the front entry, even though they're side by side. And the main reason for that is for us to get water in there and start going through all the algae cycles. We don't want to open this thing and have pea green water, and we know what that looks like. So we're probably looking at a 4-month plus cycling effort, plus probably getting animals in there to inoculate the life support system as well. So that part will be probably in the next month or so. We'll be at a point where we're putting water in there, getting that up and running. The whole project will be done by the end of this calendar year.
Just out of curiosity, how does one move a manatee?
Very carefully.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have large vehicles. We work with FWC here in the state that helps. In fact, we've got a marine stranding unit based at the marine mammal stranding unit based at the zoo. So they have they're off a site, so to speak, off of public view. But
FWC does?
Yeah, they have us right at the zoo and Botanical Garden. We have a place for them. They've been with us for quite a while, and so a lot of our team will accompany them on bringing an animal back to our facility, even the one we have currently where we can hold up to 5.
So then so that manatees are done, or by the end of the year, then the entrance is going online when?
So it'll be done at the end of the calendar year tier. We're looking at probably opening both of these early in 26. We're still working on that exact ribbon cutting date, but it'll be in early 2026. So it's right around the corner, literally right around the corner. Man,
and so you're going to host concert series and special events and what else with this entrance?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're doing all this brainstorming now because, as I mentioned earlier, we're going to have the capability to do things we've never done before. So we're going to be able to experiment with some things, I mean, we've done Tunes and Blooms this summer, which have gone really well. We've got another one coming up on the 30th of this month. Different genres of music. We can do that right at the front, and we can, I like to say between Memorial Day and Labor Day, we could do every Friday, for example. We could have evening safaris, on Friday and Saturday. It's cooler in the evening, so it's just going to have a lot of latitude for us that we've never really had before. And it's just going to be pleasant to be under that canopy too.
What happens to the old one?
So the old one will be renovated into our new education facility. So there's a lot of concrete there. So we're going to basically give it a facelift, probably take the roof off, put a new roof line on it, add on some areas, have an indoor theater style auditorium for the first time. The Shaba Terrace that's open will all be conditioned space for classrooms, and it will overlook the new lion exhibit. So classroom by day, we can open up at night. There's still a kitchen upstairs there, so we can use that for events as well. It'll have the capability. So we're probably a couple years off from that, but that's going to be the next focus, is moving once the front entry and manatee is up and running. Is we're already going into design phase for pre-construction type, a look at cost, et cetera, to get ready for that. So that's we're going to be going right into that over the next couple of years.
You talked about cost. I mean, what is the price tag on something like that?
Well,
not the education building, but the first two items.
Well, we've all been surprised with what construction costs look like coming out of COVID, and all my colleagues are having the same issues coast to coast. It's over a $70 million build. Fortunately, we've got great partnership with the city of Jacksonville and all of our donors, and we've got it all in line to make this one happen. It is interesting moving forward because we don't know what those costs are going to look like. That's the big if. I think I hear it from my colleagues that that's their biggest hand wringer today is what are construction costs going to look like moving forward.
Yeah, I mean, how do you even budget for a big question mark?
Yeah. Well, I'll give you an example. So those 10 sand filters I was talking about, the 18 sand filters, they sit on $1.8 million worth of concrete. We used to build a good exhibit 25 years ago for $2 million. So I mean, it just puts it in perspective.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is crazy.
Yeah.
When it comes to beyond just being a zoo, the conservation effort, I think that's a piece that a lot of people don't know. To your point, it's been behind the curtain in the old days of zoology. What exactly do you guys do? What are the programs?
Yeah, so I'll start by saying we're one of 251 AZA accredited zoos and aquariums, Association Zoos and Aquariums, which is less than 10% of animal exhibitors that are licensed by USDA, which we have to have as well. So that means there's over 25, you think about that, 2,500 licensed animal exhibitors, and 250 of those are AZA accredited. And some of those are outside the U.S. We have accredited facilities outside the U.S., in Mexico and parts of Hong Kong, et cetera. So it's a very small number because our standards are so high. But the reason I mention that is we all are conservation organizations, and we're working with for a lot of the same common goals and working collectively together because we can't do it by ourselves. It's in collaboration. It's like here in the state of Florida, we've probably got 19 AZA accredited facilities here, and how many of us are working collectively on manatees together? We couldn't do that by ourselves. It's all a big working nucleus, and that's true for all of our conservation efforts, whether they're with elephants or tigers, that we have a collective. But the one thing that I like to say is that we are a 501c3 nonprofit conservation organization. We generate 97% of our budget, and
from ticket sales and memberships,
and everything we do. Our special events, everything, which helps with the operation of the zoo and the botanical gardens, but also the care of their wild counterparts as well. So. That's why I hearken back to what I said earlier about when you come to visit, you are truly a conservationist. You're helping make a difference. So I think we have to say that repeatedly. I think just so people know that we have tentacles way outside of our gate. And we're not only doing things locally. You're going to see that right at the front entrance with manatees. We work with. We also have a plant conservation officer, since we are a botanical garden, that works with native endangered plants. So we're doing a lot in the bi-state area between Florida and Georgia with endangered plants. We breed striped newts that are getting released in Apalachicola forest, Puerto Rican toads that go back down there, tadpoles. We just sent 25,000 tadpoles back this year. So there's a lot going on. So it's the kind of stuff that you're going to see with our new interpretatives that are going throughout our campus, that we will also thank our guests for being conservationists. That's going to be part of the message, and to let them know that you're helping us make a difference for the planet.
Wow. I want to get into some of those conservation efforts more directly, which we can do right after the break, so be sure to stick around. We'll be right back.
From CBS 47 and Fox 30, you're watching This Week in the 904.
Welcome back to This Week in the 904. I'm your host, Emily Turner, and joining us today is Dr. Jeff Etling, the CEO of the Jacksonville Zoo and Botanical Gardens. We were just talking about the conservation efforts. It's like tadpoles, something as small as a tadpole. I mean, what are all of these individual exhibits and projects now?
Yeah, we refer to the spaces where our animals live, habitats. It's their habitat they live in. And one of the things that we like to say here in Jacksonville is fewer species living large. That we've got species living in big dynamic habitat spaces, and in many cases multi-species habitats, like our rhinos live with kudu and some crown cranes. We're doing that throughout our campus, and then interweaving the plant material as well, so we can really give our guests a really good perspective of how these animals live in the wild, and that these are the living ambassadors for their wild counterparts. And so we know that people connect so closely with living organisms. You think about just even someone's cat or dog, you know, that when you can be up close and smell an elephant, you know, or a rhino, you're not going to forget that. It's very pivotal. And I think being able to tie them to the messaging we've been talking about is that you're doing a good thing, that we can help drive that home. That my other saying is that conservation is not a plant and animal problem, it's a people problem. We've created all of the problems for plants and animals around the world. And so it's not just going to be the zoos and botanical gardens and aquariums that are going to save them. It's going to take all of us working together. I like to say we also need to be a good steward of the parcel of land we sit on. So we've got all these new sustainability efforts we're putting in place that we can share with our guests too, because they can do the same things at home, whether it's recycling or rain barrels or whatever it might be, that everything counts. Because if everyone says, well, somebody else will take care of that, that means it probably will never happen. So we like to be able to educate everybody that we're in this together. And we're just kind of the glue to bring everybody together within our community and to tie them to what we're doing for wildlife and wild places, and that we need them to be a part of that effort as well.
So we've talked about manatees, we talked about newts, right? We got tadpoles. Did you just like ship them to South America?
Oh, well, we've discovered many years ago, because the SSP for the Puerto Rican crescent toad Species Survival Plan program has been going on for several decades now. We discovered that it's better to ship them as tadpoles rather than toadlets, because they have an allegiance to come back to the pond that they metamorphosed from. If you take toadlets out and release them by the pond, they just scatter and they don't have an allegiance to come back because they didn't spend any time in that body of water, but they're able to navigate back to the pond that they spent time in as a tadpole. And so we've been and it's much easier because it's like shipping fish. You've got them in a bag with water and oxygen in there and ship them straight to Puerto Rico, and then they take them out to the release ponds. And we have animals now, many years in, that were released that are now coming back as adults to breed at those ponds, which is very cool. And
that is cool.
There's efforts like that even with larger animals across, AZA and the World Zoo community with Arabian oryx and a number of other animals that people just don't, I think, probably grasp the intensity of that if it wasn't for the work of zoos collectively with these conservation efforts, some of these species would be gone now.
And so is it just newts, toadlets, and manatees, or are there more?
No, I would say that a vast majority of species that we care for have some sort of conservation effort tied to them. Elephants, tigers, a lot of the rhinos. Our curator of wildlife conservation, John Lucas, he started the Okapi program 38 years ago in the Congo. In fact, he was just there recently. It's the program that all the zoos in the U.S. but also around the world support, and we have that gentleman working for us. He's also heavily involved with the rhino programs around the world, and so we feel very fortunate to have him as part of our team to not only lead those programs but all the other conservation efforts that we have in tow right now.
And I'm sure that's a big job, but there's also another big job that would be the special events piece. I feel like, because I get all the emails, I mean, whoever's doing it is doing a fantastic job. What do you guys have in the pipeline for coming up in the fall?
Well, I mentioned earlier we got Tunes and Blooms, which is kind of a concert series. We're having different genres of music, adult beverages, and those have been very popular. We've got one coming up on the 30th of this month, and then the final one for this season will be the 27th of September. Got those coming up. Backed by popular demand is Brew at the Zoo. It will be on September the 12th. Have a lot of the craft brewers from around the Jacksonville region will be there, serving up their fine beers. I had the good fortune to help brew one of them that will be there.
Nice.
So that's coming up, and I think that'll be highly popular, and that'll kind of get us into our fall season.
And then there's Zoo Lights.
We'll have Spooktacular coming up in October, which is always a big popular one. And then Colors of the Wild, which is the Tianyu Lantern Festival, will be year 3. And it's a different suite of lanterns every year. There might be some commonality, but they bring a whole new suite. So it's something different to see.
It's beautiful. I love that exhibit.
Yeah.
So if people want to know where they can find out about the events or anything like that, what do they need to know? Where do they need to go?
Our website has it all. They go there. jacksonvillezoo.org. You can go there. Had to think for a minute.
Yeah.
And then also, Instagram, Facebook, all those things are posted out there as well. So you can stay up to date just going to those sites.
When it comes to the future of the zoo, in your ideal world, 10, 15, 20 years down the line, what do you imagine that looking like?
Yeah, it's having worked in AZ accredited zoos now for 38 years, I've seen a lot of change. But I think that the role of the modern zoo and aquarium is probably more important today than it's ever been in our history. And we've talked about a lot of the reasons for that. But I think to continue to connect younger generations with nature and conservation is pivotal. And I think that's a big role we play. We have, what we used to call our education department is now learning and conservation engagement, because it really is being able to connect, young and older people with the efforts that we have in place, and to be able to make good changes for the future.
Well, I appreciate your time. Thank you so much
Thanks
for
for
filling us
having
in
me.
on all things Jacksonville Zoo
Yeah.
and Botanical Gardens.
Yep.
And thank you guys for joining us. Be sure to tune in next week for another episode of This Week in the 904.
Thanks for watching This Week in the 904.